Alrighty, 2.5 years of knowledge on high performance, peak health, lifespan longevity. Today's video is specifically going to be talking about mental and physical recovery. I want to dive right in. I want to waste zero time. And first, I'm going to talk about the pillars of recovery. Today's actually recovery day for me. So we have a beautiful view behind us, beautiful day in nature. Let's dive right in. Now, the levers of recovery, there's no specific sequence here, but you have sleep, you have hydration, you have nutrition, you have stretching. There are certain kind of routines and structures you can do for kind of stress management and breathing protocols to also help. So those really are kind of your pillars of recovery. So first, I want to talk about hydration, okay? When it comes to recovery specifically, you want to always make sure that you're hydrating with electrolytes. Now, you can get electrolytes from a few different places. You can either get them from Celtic sea salt or Himalayan pink salt. These already have a lot of your vitamins and minerals and things in them. Or you can get them through an actual electrolyte pack that contains your electrolytes like sodium, magnesium, potassium, etc. So typically, if you're working out, you want to be consuming at least 15 to 20 fluid ounces. Think of your average water bottle right in the middle there at about 17 fluid ounces. You want to be consuming at least 15 to 20 fluid ounces of spring water with electrolytes in it before your workout. During your workout, you want to be consuming at least that same amount, if not a little bit more, during your workout, another 15 to 20 fluid ounces of spring water with electrolytes. And after your workout, post-workout, again, about another 15 to 20 fluid ounces of spring water with electrolytes. If you don't know how to pick up sea salt or you can't order Celtic sea salt off of Amazon, there's a company that I love that I have no specific affiliation with. Actually, in here in my bottle right now, the company's called LMNT, spelled like the letters in the alphabet, LMNT. They have awesome little electrolyte packs, different flavors. You dump them in there, great way to go. So that is hydration. If you're not working out, then maybe you don't need as much, but the approximate, and don't take this to the bank, it's merely an estimation. But if you're not working out, if you're not physically exerting yourself, your KPI for the day is take your body weight in pounds. I know for those that are not in the US, you're going to have to convert that, but take your body weight in pounds, divide that by 2, and that is the approximation of how much water and electrolytes, ideally both, you're consuming on a daily basis. So I'm weighing like right around 150. Typically, I kind of teeter around like 146 or 148. So every day, I consume at least about 75 to 80 fluid ounces of water. And the key is then that number, so that's 75 or 80, I consume at least half of that amount of water with my electrolytes before noon. So before the afternoon really starts. And the reason I do that is because that helps me unlock the highest levels of mental clarity. And I want mental clarity throughout my whole day. Do not get me wrong, but I especially want the most mental clarity I'm going to get in the beginning part of my day. So I'm extremely clear on what to do, how to execute it, and doing it the proper way. Okay. So that's hydration recovery. That's the data set for that. When it comes to stretching, okay, for stretching, anytime you're about to warm up, like let's say you're about to hit a gym workout, you're doing some kind of at-home workout, you want to do dynamic stretching. That's actually taking, for example, let's say you're working out legs, that's like swinging your legs through the actual movement itself, okay? That's the best way to kind of warm up anything. You can also do dynamic stretching during the day, in between calls, in between work blocks, whatever works best for you. Dynamic stretching is a great way to keep yourself flexible and to keep your body moving. Before bedtime, or when you first get up in the morning, you can do about 5 to 10 minutes of static stretching. I'm going to go back to the leg example. Static stretching is like when you take your leg and you kind of hold it behind you and you kind of pull and hold. Dynamic is the active swinging of the movement. Okay. Static stretching is phenomenal before bed, as well as when you first get up in the morning to continue to supercharge your recovery. Now, again, you can do them interchangeably. You can do some dynamic in the morning or throughout the day, but especially if you're young, it's super important to stretch because the last thing you want to do is build muscle, get older, and you're just stiff and you're not mobile, you're not flexible. You want to build a beautiful physique. You want to feel great every day, but at the end of the day, you want it to be functional. You don't just want it to look good. You want to make sure you're using all your muscles and you're flexible, okay? Now, I want to move on to breathing. Breathing, here's a quick little data set before I hop into the actual recovery data set. When you take very fast, rapid inhales like this, speeds up your heart rate. You release adrenaline, more energy, more focus. When you want to slow down and calm down and reset your nervous system, it's just the opposite. You take deep, long inhales and long, extended exhales like this. And you really exhale very slowly. Okay. Now, when you exhale, imagine you're blowing out the air through like a straw, very, very thin lips, and really slow it down. Now, that's kind of the key psychology, the mindset behind breathing. Now, if we apply it to physical recovery and mental recovery, let's start with physical first. After you finish a workout, remember that when you work out, it is stressing your body, but it's a healthy stress, given you don't overdo it, you don't injure yourself, of course. It's that healthy stress. But you have a lot of adrenaline pumping, your dopamine is being released. It's a very high stress activity for the body. Once you finish your workout, you want to dedicate anywhere between 2 to 5 minutes. I personally do 4 minutes. That's just my sweet spot of just deep breathing to relax your nervous system. Let your body know we just stressed ourselves out healthy in a healthy manner, but now we need to calm ourselves down. We're moving on to a different activity during the day. We're leaving the gym. We're now moving past this intense period of physical stress. And doing a deep breathing relaxation protocol for 2 to 5 minutes really helps. And it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. But the key here is, again, very long, slow, big inhales and very slow, extended exhales until the timer is done. It's not going to be easy. You're going to want to feel like you catch your breath, but the goal is to do it consistently and it'll get easier and better over time. That's the data set. For actual mental recovery, that's when you can basically just anytime during the day, just again, really take those long, deep, extended exhales. That's going to help you calm down. Whether you have a very high, intense call, sales call, whatever it may be, if your adrenaline is pumping, if you're kind of just uptight, one of the best things that you can do, go to the bathroom or before your next call, just take just a few minutes. And again, very big, deep inhales, very slow, extended exhales. You're going to bring your heart rate down. You're going to bring your respiratory rate down. You're going to feel calm, grounded, present, ready to kind of move next to whatever's your next call or whatever's next in the day for you. That's the mental side of it. Okay. I now want to talk about nutrients and food. Remember that your body does not crave calories. It craves nutrients. Okay. Let's talk about macronutrients. Protein are like your building blocks. Carbs are your primary energy source. Fats are your secondary energy source. Once you burn all your carbs, then you start burning fats. Healthy fats are very good for brain elasticity. Proteins are the building blocks for muscle and for everyday activity function and energy. And again, carbs is that main fuel source of energy. So that's macronutrients. And then you have micronutrients. You want to make sure you're getting your antioxidants in. You want to make sure that all the little things like electrolytes, magnesium, potassium, sodium, sulforaphane, like broccoli. Broccoli contains something called sulforaphane, which is the #1 leading antioxidant against cancer. Right? So I kind of just went on a little bit of a tangent there. But you want to prioritize micronutrients and macronutrients, not just calories. You typically want to have most of your carbs maybe halfway towards the end of the day because they make you feel a bit more tired, lethargic, they're a bit heavier to digest. And you want to make sure you go ahead and you have your proteins and your fats earlier in the midday and throughout the day to keep that stable level of energy. But you don't want to have those carbs early in the morning or even a little bit too early in the afternoon because that can cause an energy crash, which you don't want. You want to maintain those energy levels so you can continue pushing forward mentally, physically, whatever it may be. Okay, so that's the topic about nutrition. And if you really want to unlock like peak performance, you should really get your gut microbiome tested because that's going to tell you your gut lining, how that impacts your gut-brain axis, which is a membrane of nerve systems that literally go all the way up to your brain and they talk to each other. You want to make sure that what's the level of alkalinity and acidity in your gut. Personally, I thought that having grass-fed meat was absolutely great for me. Turns out it's not great, but it's not bad. It's kind of just a little bit decent, but my body just doesn't absolutely love it. But if you look at it objectively, like without the data, or excuse me, subjectively, objectively is with data, subjectively is without the data. Actually, I thought it's a superfood because it really is. But my body thinks it's good, but it's not great. There's way better alternatives like fatty fish for me, or like eggs are kind of better sources of protein. Whereas I can still kind of have that grass-fed meat, but it's usually just not going to be my primary source. Okay, so that's the nutrient data set. Now, when it comes to sleep, sleep is not just about sleeping for 8 hours. Sleep is not just about being consistent. It's all of it. You want to make sure that you're getting your hours. You want to make sure you're consistent in your bedtimes and your waking times. You want to make sure you wind down at night before you go to sleep so your body's actually prepared to fall into that deep restorative sleep and stay asleep. You want to make sure that your bedroom is primed to get that deep restorative sleep, not a place where there's electronics and TV and shit over here and it's not clean. You want to make sure it's cool. You want to make sure it's dark. You want to make sure it's quiet. You want to remove any electronics, any clocks. You don't want to be watching TV in your room. You shouldn't be doing your work in your room. It should just be just for sleeping and just for romance, okay? That's the side about sleep. One more thing on sleep. People think sleep is where you rest and recover, and this is true. It is. But in everyday life, living, your brain accumulates toxins. Sleep is where you flush out those toxins in your light sleep stage, in your deep sleep, slow wave sleep, as we'll call it SWS, and in your REM sleep. Throughout all different of these three phases, it's important that you go through each of them, which is why it's consistent to have a consistent bedtime and wake time so your body can predictably move through these sleep cycles and make sure that it's flushing out these toxins and these proteins. You may not feel it now, but 30, 40 years down the line, those toxins build up. That's where Alzheimer's happen. That's where schizophrenia develops. That's where dementia kicks in. Okay. Sleep can pretty much eliminate all that, given nutrition and exercise are kind of all dialed in. Okay. And those are really the main pillars of recovery: stretching, hydration, nutrition, breathing, sleep. Some of the other ones that you can do are, again, like meditation is a fantastic habit you can have. Journaling is a fantastic habit you can have. These things allow your brain to be more present, process things a lot more easier, faster. These are things that are great to bolster your mental health as well, which is in another previous video that I covered. But those are the essential levers that you want to pull on for your recovery. Remember, your performance for tomorrow starts with how you wind down and how you recover today. You can go hard. You can do a lot of volume every day, but eventually you will burn out because it's not sustainable. But if you prioritize the small daily habits every day and you prioritize your recovery, that's what's going to allow you to go hard consistently without feeling like you're going to burn out. And that's what's going to unlock those new heights in your career, those new profound moments of happiness and being calm and grounded, high energy, high focus, high levels of mental clarity. Recovery is where the magic really happens, my friend.